And hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rock Topic Podcast. I am here, as always, with
me, and me is Zane.
Nice. Yeah, so we are back. We were not able to finish our last recording session at the Nickel, as we had talked about doing. So we're doing the next two episodes at my house, so things may sound a little different. I don't know if they'll be
Maybe
better or for worse. Hopefully better. But yeah, today we are talking about a little old
Motley Crue.
Oh
wait.
Was it? I thought.
Oh
No, that's next week.
I think it's. I think. Hold on. I think we were gonna talk about Stevie Led Doors.
Stevie Led Doors Crew. It's Led Zeppelin. It's one of my favorite bands and one of many people's favorite bands, especially when it comes to like 70s rock, things like that.
Right. I mean, I have my grievances with them.
We'll get into that.
But I feel like undoubtedly they're probably the best rock band in terms of like how widespread they are.
True.
Love of everyone has for them.
Yeah, and also one thing that is constantly thrown around with Led Zeppelin is they were like notorious for their live performances being like absolutely fantastic, even compared to their studio work, which personally I think is really good as well.
And the fact that all four of them were, and the ones that are still with us, are incredibly talented.
Oh yeah, well trust me, I'll do a whole rant on Jimmy Page as we get through this, and
Jimmy Page,
Robert Plant,
John Bonham, and then the bassist.
Yep, John Paul Jones. So yeah, that was one thing I wanted to touch on. We have John Paul Jones on bass, Robert Plant as the iconic vocalist, Jimmy Page as a guitarist you heard me reference in one of the previous two episodes, and also he's obviously on guitar, and then John Bonham on the drums. So yeah, a very interesting lineup and a very cool origin story as well. I can touch on that a little bit later.
I cannot help there.
No, it's all good. I'll touch on that in a couple of minutes.
The Yardbirds.
Yeah, the Yardbirds. Yeah, I wasn't going to go super in-depth past that, but we can get to that in just a couple of minutes. But so, like, Zane, what is your, like, I know you don't have a super deep Led Zeppelin discography knowledge. What currently is what you would say your favorite song to listen to of Zeppelin?
Okay, so it changes, like, between three songs.
Okay.
So whenever like Heartbreaker comes on my playlist, like the immediate
volume knob go.
Yeah, the immediate sound of that guitar, I'm just like, that's my favorite. But then that song will come on, and then like four songs go by, and then I get greeted by pretty heavy drums. And then boom, when the levee breaks, I'm like, that's my favorite song.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even put that down in my notes, but I have to bring that up.
With the
because
song?
Yes, When the Levee Breaks has one of the most notoriously great and uniquely created drum sounds of any rock record in history.
Well, it also sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. So not only do those drums sound like absolutely fantastic, the story behind how they got that drum sound that's so powerful and echoey and just like it's echoey, but it feels like it's right there. You know what I mean? Right. It's just such an awesome drum sound, and this is the studio nerd in me coming out. But the way they got that was, I guess that would just go into the whole story of Led Zeppelin 4 as an album. They recorded it in this super remote, like almost castle-like place that was, it was like a studio that they set up in like an old, like, it was all brick type building. It was a really weird location to record this album.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense from some of the songs on that album.
Yep. And because they wanted that like disconnected countryside feel to Led Zeppelin 4, which led to, like Stairway to Heaven and
when
things
the
like that.
When the levee breaks in like particular, that's like some like deep, rich Southern blues.
Oh yeah.
That sound, like, it's amazing. It's a great song.
Yeah, and just to finish up on the drum sound and how they got it.
Oh, yeah.
They kept going at it, and they kept tracking, and just Bonzo was not happy with how the drums were sounding for a long, long period of time. And after everything was finished for the day and all the guys went out to the nearest bar, the producer or engineer pulled John Bonham aside and said, "Hey, can you just stay for a couple of takes?" And so what they did, they moved the drum kit up to a balcony on like the first or second floor above the ground floor, and it was an all open space all the way to the like ceiling, and there were like balconies, and they set up the drum set up on this balcony and put the mic down on the floor in the center of the room on ground floor.
Okay.
So the drum kit was upstairs, coming off the echo of the whole room in a balcony. Like it was just like, what a unique, and then that's what leads to that.
I was gonna say that,
you know, like just amazing. Like I just thought it's so heavy. Cool. Yeah, I know. It's just amazing to me.
The sound picked up well then, because that's a heavy drum sound.
Yeah, and to me that's why there's never been, you know, for the most part, another drum sound that sounds like that has been so iconic, because I mean it's a pretty tough thing to recreate, honestly. So yeah, that definitely was something that I thought was super cool about When the Levee Breaks.
And third one of my favorite songs.
Okay, sorry, back to that.
Well, no, it's just Black Dog.
Oh, of course.
That one I love. I
Ooh,
mean,
fun fact about Black Dog. Do you know why they called it Black Dog?
I know loosely that wasn't there like a black dog that would go to the studio?
I think I'll check on that quick. I'm pretty sure that was also Led Zeppelin 4. No, it was Led Zeppelin 4. I don't even have to check because I remember the album art.
But that's hilarious to me, because they're just like, these lyrics have nothing to do, but we just can't come up with a name, so Black Dog it is.
Yeah, because there was a like black dog that would roam the countryside and stop by the studio every now and again, and they were like,
Black Dog.
Black Dog.
But I do really like Kashmir.
Yes, Kashmir is also very cool. That was Physical Graffiti, I think was that album. Pretty sure that's what that was called. Toby comes to greet us. This is my dog.
Hello, pupper.
Toby, I need you to get out. Toby, get out.
Toby,
I'll cut this. But yeah, definitely. Led Zeppelin 4 was a super, just different album. I mean, not to mention Stairway to Heaven, of course, which many would also attribute to being the greatest song of all time. And obviously that's, you know, super opinionated.
I was gonna say,
but a lot of people do say that. And like, in a way, I get it, because like from a social standpoint, you know, there are so like that has reached, you know, for such a long period of time.
Well, that's like, another thing with the whole Stairway to Heaven joke. Like, no song gets to that joke level if it's not like
incredible.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
and not to mention the test of time that it has stood. You know, probably I don't remember when Led Zeppelin
it's like a
4
journey.
Was. Well, it really is. I mean, it's
like you can't listen to that. Like, it's almost like a I don't know how many people are familiar with Middle Earth. When they I mean, that listen to this podcast, but like, I just feel that's a very like Middle Earth journey-esque type.
Absolutely.
Where, like, you just follow the character on their journey, and then the ending is literally like chills, you know, from head to toe.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a testament, in my opinion, to how incredible of a guitar player Jimmy Page is. And you guys heard me in one of the previous podcasts talking about that. I think that was the Stevie Ray Vaughan episode. We brought that up, where you were like, the best guitar player of all time. And I was like, or you said, what's your favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan song? I was like, Jimmy Page, probably. But no, Jimmy Page is one of my greatest inspirations. You know, the reasons I like Jimmy Page and the reasons why most people like Jimmy Page, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it boils down to just the aggression and, like, I don't want to say like sloppiness, but
he's pretty technical.
He's technical, but he doesn't ensure that every note is perfect.
Oh, of
like
course.
When he wants to be aggressive, like a perfect example is
Heartbreaker
Heartbreaker Solo.
That one is
Not every
crazy.
note is being hit just perfect, but that's what makes it sound unique and aggressive and fast.
I was
He
gonna
always
say,
pushed himself.
The middle of the solo, he literally accidentally mutes like
Yeah,
notes, and
exactly.
that just adds to like the charm of it.
For sure. He would always push himself to his like limits.
So
Even
that's
if-
why whenever I play guitar and I just like jump a mess and I like accidentally mute notes, I'm just like imitating Jimmy Page.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, Jimmy Page gave us all the excuse that if we if we're playing
I'm not bad, okay?
if we're playing really
I'm just paging it.
I'm not bad. I'm just aggressive. I did it on purpose.
Yeah, I meant to mute that string 10 times.
It's just like the middle of like a nylon classical piece.
And then, like, at least like with my experience with because to keep this a Led Zeppelin oriented, I've been learning some of like their most famous like riffs,
Oh, cool.
and like Led Zeppelin are not my favorite band by any means, and I don't love every one of their songs, but I feel so cool. Like once you learn one,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
of
just like,
course.
"Whoa, wait a minute."
And that's
like,
a testament to how iconic they are as a band. But yeah, I guess to touch on like the origin story a bit too. Originally there were even before, like, there was the Yardbirds, old school British band.
the birds.
Yeah, the bird ski.
The birds in the yard.
Birds of the yard. So anyway, during the time that the Yardbirds were existent, Jimmy Page was a studio, like a session musician at the time, and was still incredible at like a crazy young
Who
age.
else was in the Yardbirds that I would know?
It was like I think Jeff Beck was in.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong.
Hold on, I think there's one person specifically that I know.
Should have looked this up beforehand.
I know. I'm gonna check real quick, and I'm almost positive that this person has been in it.
Let's see here. Yardbirds members. I'm sure there were a million different people. Yeah, Jeff Beck. Eric Clapton was. I don't know who all was in it Clapton was one of the big ones.
That's that's who I thought. I saw his name as part of the Yardbirds. I remember.
So, Jimmy Page was a session musician at the time, so he would just play in on people's records.
No, I find it funny. Like they're like, all right, Clapton, you could join the band and like play, and then here, along walks Jimmy Page, and they're like, all right, Clapton, we're gonna need you to get out. We're gonna need you to leave.
So anyway, Jimmy Page gets invited, or I don't remember exactly, but somehow Jimmy Page joins the Yardbirds. He's incredible.
I was gonna say, he probably just manifested himself in the room.
Yeah, he just like closed his eyes while he was playing, and then woke up, opened his eyes when he finished the solo, and Clapton was gone.
With a record contract.
Yeah, in his hand, already signed. Like his pick is gone, replaced by a scroll with his contract, giving him complete ownership of the band. But anyway, the Yardbirds kind of phased out and didn't, it was weird. And then I don't know if he left, or I think the Yardbirds disbanded or something like that. And Page,
I know a lot of the members like split up.
Yeah, I think that was it. So then Page set out. He wasn't done. He decided, I'm going to start another band, and he found Robert Plant to sing. The New Yardbirds was the name. Not kidding.
All right.
Originally, the name was The New Yardbirds.
Okay.
So they...
I'm not going to let it change how I view Plant.
So Robert Plant joins, and I can't remember who they got after Plant, but then eventually Bonham and John Paul Jones. And then they, if you recognize those names, they now had the band together. And then they realized at one of the shows that, Jimmy Page was talking to one of the like managers of the venue, I think, or something to that effect. Don't quote me on that. That, about the name of the band and stuff.
Quoted.
And he said something to the effect of like, this band is going to fly about as well as a Led Zeppelin. And like basically saying that this band isn't going anywhere.
Yeah,
this is a pretty horrible, and then Page was like, I like that. Led Zeppelin. bam, and then they became one of the most famous rock bands of all time.
Right.
So like I love the way it was named, and I love that like origin story. And then obviously Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, 3, 4, and I don't remember the order after that, but then they had Physical Graffiti, they had Presence, and I think and Houses of the Holy. I think those are some of their biggest albums to note. But yeah.
And Mothership, though.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose. That's like saying, what's your favorite Guns N' Roses album? Oh, definitely Best of Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, though, right? There's like Best of this band, Best, but they're called Mothership, you know?
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely, because like it's a play off the Zeppelin thing too. So it's like, there's like the Led Zeppelin, and then there's the Mothership.
Plus their album art is cool.
Yes, the album art is fantastic.
And all the best songs are on it, so.
Yeah, it definitely
If you haven't
was.
listened to Led Zeppelin, listen to Mothership.
Yeah,
Top to
Mothership
bottom, and you
covers
love 'em.
everything, really.
I mean, I don't love them. And I've listened to it.
You like throughout the whole show, you keep gushing about like, oh, I love this, but I'm not a Zeppelin fan.
It's, like,
It's
whatever,
really
you
not
know,
my
you know,
thing.
Zeppelin's whatever. It's they could just,
So, yeah, definitely. And like, especially as a guitar player, Jimmy Page is such an inspiration because of like, he was such a good example of like how simple you can write riffs, but playing them with attitude is what makes them great. You know, because like, you know, I'm trying to think of even Whole Lotta Love is a good example of that. Boo doo boo doo 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 doo, and then that's the riff for the like the whole song except for the solo.
not the whole song.
The middle song doesn't have a riff. We can acknowledge that. But
that
so
must be made apparent. Okay.
but it is the way that Page plays it that makes it feel exciting, you know? You could play that in a way that makes it sound really boring.
right.
Page makes it exciting because of the attitude he puts in, which is awesome.
Plus, he plays part of like what I love that he does with that riff is that I could be wrong here, right? Maybe he doesn't do this, but this is just something that I am off my memory of the song. Is that like some of the notes he'll hit like quiet, and then other ones will hit like a little louder, like the but down 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 down, but then
Yep.
the bend it to bam it to
Yep.
like
Yep, he put accents and he was very
I love that.
he was
sound.
very
But,
dynamic.
like, he's all right.
Very yeah, but like, you know,
He's okay.
no, definitely really good. But like, you know, you're not a Zeppelin fan though, right?
No.
No.
Not really. I wouldn't consider myself.
No, that happens.
I think I only have like 40 other songs on my playlist, but I'm, you know, it's just a minuscule amount, you know?
Yeah, no.
It's not a big deal.
So I would say one of the albums that I've been listening to like crazy recently is Led Zeppelin 2. And
What are some songs on it?
I was just about to bring
No,
that
I
up.
was going to say, because like maybe I might know the album.
Yeah,
No
so
songs.
Led Zeppelin 2, I guess out of their more like famous, I'd say out of their more like famous stuff, it does have Ramble On is kind of one of their more popular ones. That one is on Mothership, I believe. Otherwise, I know a lot of the songs that are on there that are not as popular, but I'm going to make sure I check on that quick so I don't misinform.
You don't want some five-head to comment. That was actually on Led Zeppelin 69.
Here we go. Okay, Whole Lotta Love. Duh. Sorry, that was the opener. Whole Lotta Love is on there, and then Heartbreaker.
Really? Let's see it.
Heartbreaker, Whole Lotta Love, and Ramble On are probably the three that are most popular. And then I want to make some honorable mentions. I guess this whole album is pretty phenomenal, except for Moby Dick, because Zane didn't like that one when we listened to it, because it doesn't have lyrics, first of all, and second of all, it has a really obscure drum fill in the middle that lasts like a few minutes.
10 minutes.
So Zane wasn't a fan of that. Zane also didn't hear the beginning or end of it, so he just heard this weird drum fill.
Yeah, quick little backstory. We were on a trip, and it was like we were getting ready to eat dinner, and Colin was outside listening to it, and I walk outside just right when the drum fill starts, and I go back inside before it ends, and I'm just like, well, that song blew. Well, because I was out there for a good 2 minutes. I'm like, it's not stopping if that's the whole thing. I'm like, Bonham's good, but like the whole song is just the drums.
No, 'cause what's funny about that is after the show, I'll have you listen to it because it definitely is. The riff is really cool that actually goes on before. It kind of has like a Livewire kind of vibe to it, which is cool.
Okay.
Had to squeak that
I was
Motley
gonna
Crue
say,
reference in
wait,
there.
so like Livewire, what band made that one?
Yeah, that I think that was no Motley Crue.
Oh,
I think
Molly.
so. Insert Motley. Leave it in the comments below. Should we make T-shirts? Insert Motley. But yeah, I'd say other big songs off of Led Zeppelin 2 that are big in my heart. I love them dearly, and they don't get enough love from the mainstream. They don't get a whole lot of love.
Oh.
No, we have What Is and What Should Never Be. That one is really good because it has such a chill vibe. It has just this slow kind of groove out sort of thing, and then it really starts to drive. It's just fantastic. The Lemon song is super bizarre because it keeps a really chill vibe, like, upbeat, but still kind of got a good rhythm to it and everything. And then has this really weird, pickup with guitar for like a guitar solo. Everything picks up and is like kind of throws you for a loop. And then Thank You is just a very good chill song. And I'd say Thank You is one of those songs that Greta Van Fleet took a lot of inspiration from specifically.
I'm glad you brought them up. Because clearly there is a heavy Zeppelin inspiration.
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna do an episode at some point on Greta Van Fleet.
Because I've been listening to a lot more of them, and I've been listening to the recent album, and I gotta say they have taken whatever the first album that they made was probably to get on the map. But their new album, they're totally something different, and they're phenomenal.
I know.
They are a great band, and I feel like the boxing them in the Led Zeppelin like wannabes or what's the best Led Zeppelin style
copycat type thing,
right?
which
it's
isn't
no longer
true.
Fair.
Well, and it wasn't fair in the first album either.
It kind of was. Listen,
you can take inspiration from a band.
I literally showed my friend 2 Zeppelin songs back to back, and then Highway Tune by Greta Van Fleet. And I was like, oh, the 2 were made in the 70s, and this one was made in 2012. And they were like, oh, well, I mean, Zeppelin still sounds good. So, you cannot say that.
Okay, again, yes, they have songs that sound very similar. But I will always argue that you can take inspiration, even heavy inspiration, from a band and sound like them without, to me, I've always been able to tell a difference pretty,
between the 2 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, clearly.
yeah.
I mean, I only listened to a few Zeppelin songs.
So. That's one thing I will say. For me, I listen to a lot of Zeppelin, and I listen to a lot of Greta Van Fleet. So, I guess it's easier to tell the difference. But if you've only listened to one song from each band, then yeah, I get it. Especially because if you got, if you got 40 years to switch it up, things might sound a little different. But, no,
but the little vocal fills that I don't even know what the lead singer's name, but the vocal fills.
Josh Kishka, I think, is the lead vocalist.
But the vocal fills
I think Jake is guitar.
Yeah, the vocal fills that he does, and the random aggressive, kind of sloppy guitar playing, you could definitely
I feel like Jake Kishka is a little cleaner than Page in most cases.
For sure.
He doesn't have the same aggression as Page did.
But if you listen to their most recent stuff,
yeah, it's a lot more slow, vibed out type stuff.
And especially guitar wise, it's all clean. And it's gorgeous. I don't know how to.
Yeah, we can talk more about Greta Van Fleet in a future show. But I will say thank you back to that. A lot of the organ, in Greta Van Fleet, there's a lot of organ playing. I can't think of what song it is. If it's I can't remember what song it is, but it has this long organ outro that is I never knew at the time, but now I realize that it's basically a direct homage to Thank You from Led Zeppelin 2. And then obviously Heartbreaker is great, and then after that, one of the less known ones mainstreamly is right after Heartbreaker ends, it jumps like without a space. Like there's no stop or pause between songs. It just immediate into Live and Love and Made. She's Just a Woman. That song is really cool. It's upbeat and it's just got this like, it's one of those headbanger in the car type songs. That's just so like down 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 down.
Wait, I totally didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So Heartbreaker ends, right? Heartbreaker, do 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 do. Ha! When the it goes right into it, and it's awesome. And then Ramble On, Moby Dick, and then Bring It On Home is just a phenomenal song. I love Bring It On Home, especially if you like that like bluesy harmonica type stuff.
Oh my lord!
Bring It On Home has this super like Plant is so soft when he's like talking about this. He's just got this. There's a really and then just like on the harmonica, just like he's like telling a story almost. Then he's got this like watch out, and then he was more on the harmonica.
Very blues, then.
Oh, very bluesy,
like old style
very
blues.
old bluesy, and then Paige comes in, and it goes right into Bring It On Home. It's so good.
I feel like when you like sound out the music,
you know more than you think you do.
I was
yeah.
like, dude, I totally remember that song.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Led Zeppelin 2 is a ride. Like, I have that on vinyl now, and just love that record. Like, start to finish, no shuffle play needed. Just a fantastic album.
I only have one album that I can do that with. There's nothing. It's not a Led Zeppelin album, but there's only one album that I have.
So unrelated.
Yeah.
Kidding. Like we've ever had any strategy as far as trying to stay on topic.
Well, you said like no shuffle, and I'm just like, well, I only have one album that's like that, and
The Black Parade, My Chemical Romance.
I'll 100% recommend it. You've never heard it,
Okay.
and you should listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
It's a whole story, start to
Okay.
finish, and
Okay.
it's Turn Blue by the Black Keys. It's unlike anything they've done and have done since then. It's totally unique, and it's amazing. So listen to it.
Okay. We should do a Black Keys episode sometime.
Oh, don't even.
We can have another Zane Teaches.
I was gonna say I would love that. I love that band.
Yeah, so I guess just so that's Led Zeppelin 2, and to me Led Zeppelin 2 is a very like I don't know, it's just very early in their timeline, and it has a lot of that, you know, because as they went later into their albums, they got more like Stairway to Heaven-y with their
That's
stuff.
a good song. Oh, speaking of,
and a lot more
was
like
gonna
introspective.
I was gonna bring up Stairway to Heaven, to compliment Paige as a guitarist. Unfortunately,
Yeah, he's very underrated.
but I learned the
The
right?
solo.
Well, no, only that part.
Yes, the beginning of the solo.
Yeah, right at the beginning, because I think it sounds great, and
Oh,
I feel
yes.
like I would learn a lot from the
Yeah.
right, like that little part.
Yeah.
It's hard, and
Uh-huh.
it's not note wise hard,
Mm-hmm.
but like when I was first trying to play it, like you'd right, like
Yeah.
try to figure it out, and then when you play it slow, when you
Yeah.
play it slow, it doesn't sound like anything.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like, okay.
And it gets a little discouraging,
Yeah,
you know, when you can't
yeah.
play it up to speed.
And I'm just like, okay. So then I was like, I'll just like push through it. If I hit a few bad notes, just whatever.
Yeah.
So I like played a little faster, and I got like more of like a sound to it, and I'm like, okay. So then I just like dug in there
Mm-hmm.
and took it like that piece only.
Yep.
And then I got to a point where I could like play it at a comfortable speed to where it sounded like Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
But then I was like in that instance, like you cannot play it too fast and you can't play it too slow.
Yeah.
And like just certain stuff he does, it shows that even though everything he did that was sloppy, he meant to do it. Like
Yes,
he's so
exactly.
technically talented, it's
Yes.
insane.
It's amazing.
But he's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's good. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, he's good.
He's all right.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention, like, Jimmy Page was just, like, if I could have anybody teach a masterclass in creativity, like, Jimmy Page was so creative. I mean, he really was.
He's
He
not
just,
the one I'd pick for
well,
creativity.
okay, it was an expression to compliment him. But, no, he was so creative, and
See, this is what
especially,
happens. Guitar rips people apart
yeah,
from each other.
for sure.
Because I can hear that. I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, he'd be good at creativity, but then it hits me in my brain.
Yeah,
This person would probably be better. So.
yeah, of course. Always something to argue about in music, right? But I will definitely say one kind of speaking the widdly diddly as we've been doing. We should make that a shirt too.
Whittly diddly.
Just speaking the widdly diddly.
I would buy that
Or
one.
have like a Google Translate from widdly diddly to English.
That'd be great.
That'd be really good. But
Well, no, you should do like whittly diddly, and then the translation into English would be guitar talk.
yeah. Oh man. So what I was getting at, when you were explaining the instead of saying the beginning of the Stairway to Heaven solo, you're like the part in Stairway to Heaven where he's like going that way. When you said that, it reminded me of when you were talking about the Doors, and we were talking about LA Woman, and you were like, there was a part where he's like, and
Oh no!
sorry, yeah, you do it.
People are strange.
Yeah, those people are. Oh yeah, sorry. It was on the album LA Woman, right?
No.
What wasn't it? Whatever, never mind. I guess I'm just dumb. But anyway, people are strange. That yeah. So you had mentioned that, and I was like, man, I should really listen to that song because the way Zayn like said it out loud
Didn't
in
sound
Widdly
right,
Diddly
right?
Speak did not sound
And then you listened
anything
to it?
musical. And then I was at work, and it came on the music
Did I
like
do
on
it
the
exactly
loudspeaker.
perfect, right?
So like, basically, I was working. I was like behind the counter. I was like
When I
wiping
said I
stuff
could talk
down
the whittly diddly, I meant it.
because I was like sitting there cleaning. I was like wiping off a countertop. It was like close to closing time,
And you hear,
and all the yeah.
"Blue."
Yes, exactly. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was like pitch for pitch, perfect. And I was like, is that People Are Strange? Like, is that what Zayn was talking about? And I was like, I've never heard, keep in mind, I've never heard the song before. So then I walk back, I go to the back counter, like, to check the Spotify to see if that's what the song was. And it was like The Doors, People Are Strange. I was like, that is what he was talking about. So I just had to laugh that came up. But Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Yes. I had to bring that up because I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
So, if I had, because I brought up that song by The Doors because I was talking about the easiest guitar.
Yeah,
journey
yeah,
I
that's
had,
right.
And then it hit
Up until the
like,
solo.
Yeah, right. And then it hit my first guitar challenge.
Yep.
Heartbreaker remains the beast to
Yes.
be slain.
Oh my gosh. I've finally started really diving in and learning the Heartbreaker solo.
It's rough.
I can now play it up until like I know it up until when the whole band comes in.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, so I can do the whole like,
All
you know,
I can
thing.
do is bam, bam, wham, wham.
Yeah, and
That's all I got down.
so I'm to the point where I can't do it up to speed, mind you, but I can play the notes and I can get through it to where it kind of sounds like
No, but see,
Heartbreaker.
that's why Paige is such a asshole because like he intentionally plays it sloppy,
Yeah.
but he knows what he's doing. So
Well,
like
yeah.
when you try and learn it, you're like,
Well,
He
so
just gets
that's
blown away.
that's another thing. I'll get to this. I'm gonna put a pin in that because I got to remember that. And I'll bring that up after this. But you know, to the part where that part,
Yeah.
I can play up to there, and then you know when you get into the you know that whole section,
well,
I don't know
when
that
It starts
yet.
with the band though.
Yeah,
it is such. I was gonna say it's such a genius way to
Oh,
like
yeah.
because it comes in with the drums. And then like he goes.
Well,
and
no,
it's
he
just, like, a
starts
little-
first. He has his
Yeah.
down, 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 down,
And then he
and then
builds it
Bonham gives one of the best intro fills, which is one drum hit. It's just You know what I mean? He just has one snare hit and then
But I remember the first time hearing that song.
Ah, chills.
Right? And I actually only dove deeper into Zeppelin fairly recent in my life.
Yeah,
And
same.
when I first heard the Heartbreaker Solo, I had no idea what I was in for. Well, actually, Heartbreaker as a song, I had no idea what I was in for. Because the vocals are great, and the whole song, actually, not just the solo, has a wonderful guitar part. But what got me is when I'm like listening to it, and I'm just enjoying the sound of it. It gets to the solo, and the solo cuts, so it sounds like, upon repeat listens of the song, I get what they were doing, but the first listen, it's a little awkward how like vocals like just kind of like whatever, it sounds like the whole song shuts down right before the solo.
Yeah.
So like it's a little disorienting the first time you hear it, but then when he starts it, you're like, this is why they did it.
This is why you clicked on the song.
You're like, this is why they did it. And then right when it gets to the ending of it, the
Oh, is that the end of the song? It just starts going crazy.
Like the second
I love
you
it.
hear that, you're just like, okay. So I mean, I guess like you're honestly kind of good.
Yeah. And we're back. Sorry about that. Had to take care of something quick. But we were talking about the solo, I hope. Otherwise, this is
Yes.
going to sound really funny.
Yes, the Heartbreaker Solo.
Heartbreaker Solo.
And I brought up how kind of like right before the solo starts, everything just gets quiet for like a split second. And that's like it sounds kind of like awkward the first time you're listening
and
to
you're
it.
like, what?
And then once it progresses, then you just know, right? Like
You're like, oh, that's why I like this song now.
yeah, and then the song just has like a swagger to it. From the
Yeah, for sure. That's the best way to describe that song, like in its entirety. It's
from
just
like
swagger.
the super punky sounding down, down, and even just the verse fills the boom.
That's actually the bass.
No way.
Uh-huh.
That's
Because you can hear that
What?
that part. You know, because you have
sounds like a guitar. But it sounds like a guitar though. It sounds like a sliding guitar.
I know. It's just, it's awesome. I love that part.
Yeah,
That shocked me too.
Yeah, the bassist, I guess, is actually kind of talented.
Yeah, what's his name? John Paul Jones.
Oh,
JPJ.
I guess he's talented, I guess, you know. I literally thought that was a guitar, though. That's awesome.
I know, right? I thought that too. And then I realized I listened to somebody, quote unquote, playing. It was in a Robert Baker video. He's like, yeah, Heartbreaker. And then he goes,
For the verse?
and I was like, what? Is that really? And then I like thought about it. I was like, that's the guitar part, and that's the bass part is the other part. And I was like,
That's
because
insane.
when you hear that part, you don't hear the bass, you know? If you thought that was the guitar, then there's no bass part, if you think about it that way. You know? Which it was like, whoa.
I guess so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But just that's really cool, though, because I've never really heard... That changes my whole like mind on the song then, because I literally didn't know. So hearing that, it sounds like a guitar. I've never heard a bass sound that way before. The whole, like, because it doesn't have a bassy sound, if I'm being honest. It just sounds boom, ba-da-ding, ding, boom. That slide literally sounds like you're sliding into... Like,
Yeah, I know.
It's just weird. You
I know.
blew my mind. With
I
that
know.
one.
It's weird. But it's definitely, that whole song is a vibe, to put it short. But yeah, no. Super, super cool.
I mean this in like the most like unironic way possible, because it sounds kind of dumb to say, but that song is just cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like I get exactly
Like,
what you
I can
mean.
see like all four bandmates in like a convertible with sunglasses on,
Mm-hmm.
rolling
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It's just like cool. It's
For
a cool
sure.
sound.
Yes. What was the thing that I said earlier that I needed to make sure I didn't remember because I had something else to say? I was like, I need to put a pin in that and come
Oh
back to
yeah,
it.
I was talking about how, um, the solo is so sloppy, but he knows what he's doing. It's like a controlled sloppy, so
Yes.
he's like very talented.
Yes.
Because going through Heartbreaker, it's like when you want to look and like when you want to learn it.
Oh, yes. Okay. My brain did it.
There you
Yay. I remember. Thank you. So that's another really important note to make about Led Zeppelin is that they and Jimmy Page was really adamant on this. The version you hear as the studio version, he only played it like that one time. Every live performance, different solo. Every you know what I mean? The structure of the songs can be the same for the most part, but they change it. Every live show is different. Every recording that would be done is different. And like Zeppelin very much touted themselves and prided themselves on being a live band. And that was part of it. So, who knows if they took multiple takes to do Heartbreaker, who knows what it could have sounded like. You know what I mean? It would have been a similar idea, but the solo itself could have been different. And so that's why the reason I thought of that, and the reason that I bring that up is because when you were saying, "Oh, it's hard to learn note for note." Well, Jimmy Page couldn't play it note for note again. You know what I mean? It
Right.
wasn't meant to
Okay.
be like that. That's where I was thinking of that because Jimmy Page, his idea was not to create, it's not like for example, Sweet Child of Mine. Like if you play that song with a different solo,
You're gonna know it.
ew. Like no, don't do that. But with the Zeppelin songs, Jimmy Page playing it live, even Stairway to Heaven, he kept the certain beats the same of the solo, but he would change up, some of the meat of it. And
I'm trying to like.
that's
I'm
why
trying to compare. Like I'm trying to think about another artist that does that. Like see if there is other ones that play it different each time. And so far, I'm not thinking.
yeah.
Like
See,
except for maybe Jimi Hendrix.
yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But see that like does Page know how to read music?
Well, yeah, because he was a studio, like a session musician.
Okay,
So he
kinda
his
needed to.
his
Yeah.
literal job was filling in on other people's records with their music that he didn't even write. So I'd assume he had to know what was
Right.
going on there. So
Well, because I'm trying to think of like all the great guitarists that I love. Like Jimi Hendrix
yeah,
was and is phenomenal, but he had no idea what he was doing in terms of like the technicality.
yeah, but somehow was one of the
Like
more
he-
technical guitar players, like
Yeah,
especially of
he
the
didn't
era.
know it though.
No, exactly. He had no idea. He
And
just
then-
was like,
and
"This
then-
sounds good."
And then if I think about Stevie Ray, also a phenomenal guitarist, but couldn't read music either, and he just played the blues like
Mm-hmm.
as pure blues you could possibly get. So like every one of his songs you listen to live is more or less the exact same as his record.
Yeah, true.
Like except for stuff where he does like small fills, like that
Yeah.
live version of Voodoo Child. That's a lot different. It's
Yep.
2 minutes longer than the studio version because he adds fills, but it's the same like
Yeah.
around.
So,
you know?
but like that's one thing in particular that like Jimmy Page reserved that freedom of like that's why you come to a Led Zeppelin show is because it's he didn't want it. I guess like if I were to put it in probably his idea in today's terms, what would what's the difference if they're going to play it exactly the same as the studio version? What's the difference going to a live show to watch the band or going to an outdoor venue with a bunch of speakers where someone turns on Spotify? You know what I mean? Like their
Right.
idea was that each show was a show and it was something you wouldn't see anywhere else. That kind of thing.
Okay.
And that was, something that Jimmy Page especially took a lot of pride in, which to me
That's
is
a cool
interesting.
way. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah,
I've
for
never-
sure. I really, really admire Led Zeppelin as a whole for their like emphasis
Talent.
on performance and that sort of thing. Also, fun fact: "Livin' Lovin' Made" that song, almost never played live because Jimmy didn't like it. I don't know, like the reason why it was almost never played live. Maybe it was once, but it'd be difficult. I believe, to find it. They almost never played it live, and there's like a million different theories as to why, but I don't know. It just was one they almost never did, and like you'd think, as a follow up to Heartbreaker, it's awesome, and the riff is great and like whatever, but some speculate that Jimmy didn't like the fact that it was so perfectly fit for radio. Because of the length and the chorus verse kind of thing that it had going on, and the short guitar solo.
Why even make it then?
Well, I don't see. You're asking the questions that the world's asked, because I don't know, but it's just a little bit of trivia. They rarely, it's either they never played it or they only did it once or twice, played it live, and like it's not even set in stone if it was because Jimmy didn't like it or not. It's just one of those weird things where they just didn't. So.
What I think is cool about Led Zeppelin, and I'm probably gonna give them probably one of the biggest compliments I've ever given.
For a band you don't care about.
Yeah, for a band that's like all right, I guess. But usually, like, because Plant doesn't play an instrument.
Harmonica.
Okay. And not like,
Are you about to put down all of our harmonica playing listeners now?
No. I'm not trash on the monica, okay? Like,
no, I get what you mean.
But he doesn't play like an instrument that is, because every song we've talked about, except for maybe one that that's obscure, has no harmonica in it. So we're not counting that, right? At least for my point I'm going to make here.
Well, also you're the one who brought up When the Levy Breaks.
I did. And it's a great song.
Yeah.
And it's a great song.
And a lot of harmonica there.
But, okay, so besides the harmonica in some songs, Plant doesn't really play like, an instrument, right?
Bring it on home.
But if you listen to bands like Cream or Pink Floyd, trying to think of other bands. The Eagles.
Okay.
Like all these bands, each member plays an instrument, and there's like 6 of them in each band, right? Except for Cream, there's only 3. But one of the instrument players is the singer, and they have all that backing behind them of instruments, and Led Zeppelin creates the same sound.
Like a full... Like such a full...
like rock orchestra sound.
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
And like Led Zeppelin can do that.
With 3 instruments.
Whereas like Pink...
harmonica.
And the occasional harmonica. Whereas like Pink Floyd has, 2 guitarists, the bassist and David Gilmour, like swap back and forth between singing. And they have the drums and, they back vocals. And then Led Zeppelin can create a similar, like a flurry of the eardrums.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and not to mention, Robert Plant's voice is amazing and powerful and unique enough to be considered an instrument in that regard. You know what I mean? Not that the voice isn't an instrument.
I was gonna say,
but I mean, like in the way that you're saying,
that he plays harmonica.
He does play. He does. But I can't think of what song it is. But there's another song. Oh man.
What song?
Oh, I can't think of the song, but it's got a
harmonica in it.
It's harmonica, but like the solo is harmonica, but it sounds almost like guitar because he plays a harmonica into a mic and there's like distortion put on it.
Probably Little Wing.
I
just had to throw in the Little Wing.
You had to. But I can't think of the song.
To be honest with you, I've never heard a song that had a harmonica solo.
I know, but it's like you would almost not know that it's a harmonica solo because it's just got this like. Oh man, I can't think of.
I did not know that he played that though, like a harmonica.
The name will come to me.
Like I don't really listen to a lot of songs from like an OK
Nobody's
band.
Fault But Mine. That's it. Sorry, I thought of the name. Nobody's Fault But Mine.
I don't really listen to like too much of an OK band.
But yeah, no, Nobody's Fault But Mine has like such an
Keep in
incredible
mind, guys,
harmonica
we are
solo.
talking about one of the best, almost good bands I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
like rock history, legendary
Only kinda.
in Zane's eyes. But but like, and also to talk about some of the things that like Jimmy Page did just on the show perspective, like all the crazy dragon costumes he had, the dragon telly, things like that, and then not to mention playing.
I'm surprised like you didn't go into a feral mode when you said telly.
Well, I mean, I don't like tellies, so. No,
Are they
tellies
okay
are
to you?
tellies are
so
great.
Like an okay
They're-
guitarist plays an okay guitar.
Okay, so he also played a few others. Okay, you know what? Here. This will maybe put people at peace with the fact that I don't care for the telly.
You're a fan of the
um.
guitar?
So as far as tellies go, I wouldn't like. I guess I don't care for tellies in most senses. However, I do respect how great of guitars they are and the quality of their sound. I respect that as well, and I also respect their like place in music history because it has a very deep, rich history, that guitar. So I do have a lot of respect for the telly. But if I spent $2,000 on a telly, I'd be sad. That's just how I feel personally.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would never spend $2,000 on a Telecaster either.
But like,
They're good, but $2,000 good? I don't know.
so.
Just
So you're
kidding.
seeing my side. No,
Well,
I'm
I mean, like,
kidding. I'm
well,
kidding.
When you word it so reasonable, I'm forced to agree.
Oh man. But okay, but my one thing though that I will say that may put people at peace with the telly thing a little bit, besides just the fact that I do have a respect for the guitar, is that one guitar I really do like is the Dan Electro. I love those Dan Electro
Oh my god!
guitars. Like,
Stop it! I'm like I'm 2 seconds away from opening a Sweetwater and buying it.
yeah, I know. Me too. I want that.
They're not even expensive.
No, they're not.
I'm
but
looking at the
Jimmy Page played a Dan Electro.
so did Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, cool.
It was actually his first real guitar.
Well, here's the thing that'll
Dan
completely
Electro was actually
alleviate that
his
is
first real
that
guitar.
Jimi Hendrix was known for the Strat. Jimmy Page was known for the Les Paul.
Yeah. It's
So-
true.
oh.
So none of them played a harmonica.
No, exactly. Robert Plant. Nobody's Fault But Mine. And many other songs.
But they are inexpensive.
Yeah.
Not cheap. Cheap
Exactly.
is bad quality. Inexpensive is great quality for a good price.
Yes.
I'm looking at a Les Paul style baritone guitar from Dan Electro. It's like $5.99. It's one of the more expensive ones.
$6. Pick that up.
Okay, $699.99.
$7.
$700. And it I watched a video of it being played. And what's the tuning?
Of a
Dadgab?
Dadgad or Dadgad? I think it's Dadgad.
One of them.
Whatever.
They tuned it to that,
Yeah.
and then they played some like real like bow, 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 like real like plunky dark blues.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, well, why is it not in my car right now?
Well, I was gonna say, Zane, someone could play blues on a hurdy-gurdy, and you'd be like, I need that.
That's not okay. Listen,
If it plays the blues, it's in the cart.
Harmony, it's in the car.
Harmonica.
No, it's not the case. But
Debatable.
in this particular instance, with the baritone guitar, so it already had the deep sound, and then it was tuned to like a deeper blues sound, and then like the first like lick I heard the dude do was bang 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 bang, and I'm like, oh, give me it. But yes, I very much love the blues, okay? Which Led Zeppelin took a lot of inspiration from the blues.
Yes, absolutely. That is no question.
I'm assuming that's why I like some of the riffs, they're okay, and I'm assuming that's why I want to learn some of them, is because they're very blues influenced.
the only reason you're like, I'm thinking I may scour their whole discography after this conversation, but for a mediocre band, that is quite the time investment.
I may or may not have already put Led Zeppelin 2 on my like list to listen to when I'm at home later, but we don't know.
Oh man!
Tune in next time. You might.
Yeah.
I might have new knowledge on Led Zeppelin poo. I mean, 2. My bad.
But I mean, okay, Zeppelin did so many cool things, like with the Jimmy Page with the violin bow.
Okay.
He played a violin bow on his guitar and got all kinds of crazy sounds with that. I feel like a lot of guitarists did that. Like Hendrix had to play it with his teeth. Eddie had play it with a drill, and Hendrix had play it with a violin bow. I feel like.
You mean Page had it with a violin bow?
What did I say?
You said Hendrix again.
Oh, my bad. Did I say Jimmy and then Hendrix? That's two separate people. Jimmy Hendrix played it with his teeth.
You were like, Jimmy played it with the teeth. Eddie played it with a drill, and Hendrix played it with a violin bow.
Page played it with a violin bow. My apologies.
It's just the two Jimmys, and one's arguably the better guitarist, and probably Page. If I'm being honest,
Had to.
I just said probably Page.
That's that's one thing
If
too.
we're going off technical skill, creativity. Well, no, not creativity. I think Jimi Hendrix beats him on creativity.
That's one thing is I'm very opinionated. I was walking.
She was walking.
No. I refuse. I don't care what you pull up and show me on your phone right now. My head canonical.
In
the wind.
And the wind. Cries.
Oh my gosh.
Purple haze.
I gotta mention, I never knew that Bob Dylan wrote All Along the Watchtower first.
And didn't I do that a good impression too?
I listened
All along the Watchtower.
I listened to that song for the first time and it's garbage.
It's terrible. No, right? You listen to it.
I can't stand Bob Dylan's voice. It's so bad.
From the dim 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 dim. Down dim 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 dim.
Yeah, it's just so.
And then going to the all along the Watchtower. You're like, whoa. Is it even the same song?
No, it's not. And
it's pretty bad.
My uncle made a joke once where I was telling him, I was like, man, I get insecure about putting stuff out with my voice, because it's I feel like
she's walking.
I love to think that it's I was walking because it sounds better. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, just for the memes. Just for the memes.
Gonna roll him out of his grave and
for the
ask
memes.
him? Which one sounds nicer?
For the memes. For the memes. For the memes.
But anyway, your dad.
Oh,
or your uncle?
yeah, my uncle. I was feeling kind of insecure. I was like, just kind of talking to him. He's a singer as well, and he has made a few albums and stuff.
And you're like, Uncle, what am I supposed to do if I can't sing? And then he turns over, he looks right at you, and he goes like, well, I was walking.
See? Through the clouds. But no, I brought this up to him. I was like, I have a hard time recording music because I can never leave my own voice alone. I have the tendency to mess with it and mess with it and mess with it. Retrack, add reverb, take away reverb, re-EQ, compress differently. I'll mess with it forever. And a lot of it is because I just don't like the way my voice sounds when I sing. I brought that up to him and he looked at me in the eyes and he said, let me tell you something. If Bob Dylan can make it big, you can. Suck it up.
Bob Dylan.
And I was like, is Bob Dylan that bad? And after hearing All Along the Watchtower, I was like, yeah.
I gotta be honest, and I'm not trying to trash on Bob Dylan, and I don't know if there's any Bob Dylan lovers watching, but he's terrible. I don't think I've ever heard a Bob Dylan song that I'm like, dude, that's a good song. They're all like, dude, you gotta listen to this Bob Dylan one, but not the Bob Dylan version.
Yeah, right.
He's fantastic, but actually this one's better. It's like,
He wrote
how is
great.
he fantastic?
He
then?
wrote great songs and didn't do them well.
Maybe like
Almost.
lyrically wise, he wrote
Yeah.
them good. Well, like you go from the ripping like of like Jimi Hendrix to the
Do it again.
all along the watchtower. It's like, why?
The Joker. Do the thing. So anyway, Led Zeppelin is fantastic.
Great.
You guys should all check them out.
Did I say that? I didn't mean it. They're okay.
No, but definitely one of my greatest inspirations, one of Greta Van Fleet's biggest inspirations, one of Zane's next deep dive listens on Spotify.
Maybe.
Possibly, of course. May or may not. May or may not.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I
Maybe
mean,
not.
I've listened to all of Mothership and Led Zeppelin 4.
Led Zeppelin 4 is really good too.
So, you know, if 1, 2, 3 just happen to get listened to tonight, who knows,
So,
right?
I want to bring up before we go, I do want to bring up.
We're gonna be leaving soon.
No. Before we go, I want to bring up a couple songs off of some different albums from Led Zeppelin that I highly recommend checking out. The
When
Ocean.
the levee breaks.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I think it said Blake's. Yeah. When the levee breaks.
Levy breaks for sure. Levi.
Levi Birkin?
When the levee breaks.
Levee breaks,
And
yes.
then The Ocean is one of the most like just groove riffs that you can learn or play
I
or
prefer
hear.
the lake by them.
The Ocean. The lake.
I prefer that one.
I would love to hear what the lake would sound like, but The Ocean is that
I'd say that one doesn't ring a bell.
it's such a
It
good
may,
song.
It may not after tonight ring a bell.
May or may not, or may. Oh, and then Over the Hills and Far Away is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. It's just got such a creative guitar intro from Page, and then it turns into just this like. It's one of the most purely Led Zeppelin songs, in my opinion.
Okay.
Once you get into the actual like chorus and stuff of it,
Like how Pride and Joy is pure Stevie and
exactly.
Voodoo Child is pure Hendrix.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. That is
So
definitely
it's one of those songs, like the band defining sound songs.
I would have to say yes.
Okay.
Now Zeppelin had a lot of those, but
I don't know about that.
in particular, I really like Over the Hills and Far Away.
I mean, I feel like the only thing that has remained constant with every Led Zeppelin song that I've listened to is that like guitar tone. Like a lot of things change. I mean, Plant's voice off. I mean, clearly it's the same singer. They're gonna sound
Yeah,
the
for
same each
sure.
time. But like he sings different each time. But that guitar tone is always the same,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always great.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Okay, last thing I'll say before we head into the outro for this episode, another fun fact about Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page was like notorious and famous, still is, for using Les Paul guitars and Marshall amplifiers because that's what he always used live. That's what he was always seen using. In the studio, he used Tellys, Dan Electro for guitars, and he used Supro amps and high watt amps. He did not use,
Well, I'm
for the
not,
most part, Les Pauls and Marshalls. He didn't use those in the studio. He only used them
this might
live
be
because they were
my-
louder.
This might be my limited knowledge on guitars themselves.
Yeah.
But aren't Tellys like pretty comparable to Les Paul sounds?
They certainly can be. They have a more twanginess to them. But that's why it's kind of mistaken, right? That's part of the reason why, because they have a different feel, like when you actually play them.
What's the instrument that people compared to that sounds like just like a Les Paul? That's not a Les Paul. It's a guitar, but I forget which one. I could have sworn it was Telly.
I bet Telly. Well, because, like, I remember just for the sake of it once, I went to a guitar store and I know, don't tell anybody, but I did play a Telly. Because I wanted to. I picked up a Telly and I played the Telly because I wanted to see, okay, do I really just hate the Telly? I don't hate the Telly. Do I really just dislike the Telly because of the way it looks, or is there actually a reason why I wouldn't want one, like, from the sound and feel? picked it up, I played it, and it just had a little too much kind of twang to it, and I just didn't really care for the sound as
Well,
much.
I know people call it the chicken picking guitar.
Exactly.
So maybe
Well,
that's
it was very rooted in country and like old blues and stuff too. So like in the right,
Oh. I don't know if we could be friends anymore.
there's nothing wrong with.
Did you say country in the same sentence as old blues?
Sorry.
Oh my god, I don't even know.
But I do like the Dan Electros, and they also have the lipstick pickups, just like the Telly. Now Telly has one lipstick, and the
I want a Dan Electro
me too.
really bad.
We should do an episode where we just jam
Buy
together
one?
when
Oh.
we both have our Dan
I was gonna
Electros
say
that we bought.
we just like
We'll both order one,
We'll like record like a 30-second video,
like a little
of,
jam
like,
sesh of us playing our new Dan Electros.
No, like
Oh?
the camera like behind us and like us on the Sweetwater going to check out and then just hitting order
And then like high fiving.
and then like a week later,
Yep.
like us together,
Yeah.
then playing.
Yeah,
Dan
that'd
Electros.
be great. That'd be great. But yeah, that's the last of I think what we got. I could ramble on for a bit longer. You get it? You catch that? Yeah, I could go on for a lot longer on Led Zeppelin, but that's all the time we have,
I have
for
limited knowledge
this
on them,
episode.
so I
Yeah.
can talk about what I like about them, but it's not much. So.
Yeah, what you like about the mediocre band?
Yeah, they're
That's
okay.
great.
I mean,
It's not bad, in your opinion.
they're actually kind of good. Anyway,
This episode was brought to you guys by my Patreon. Head on over there if you'd like to support us and what we do.
I think you should do it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Personally.
Definitely gives some
Definitely a
incentive to keep the
strong
show going,
recommendation.
to continue making stuff for you guys. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. And yeah, leave a comment, give it a like if you wish.
And make
if
sure
you want to
you
give it a
insert
dislike, then why are
Molly
you still here?
in the comments.
Subscribe if you have not already, and we
I'm
will see you
subscribed.
guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Oh, and also
What?
remember, next week's episode, believe it or not, very well could be already up on my Patreon right now as we speak.
Oh, there we go. I mean,
It could be there right now, and you could have a whole another hour of this majesty waiting for
it's
you.
pretty great.
And all it costs is like a minimum $3 a month.
That's like,
That's like not a lot.
that's literally like not a lot of money.
Not at all. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
You can't even buy a bag of Doritos for $3.
Peace out.
Bye.